You guys are starting to join up in, make sure to hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. We're on TikTok. Make sure to double tap that phone screen to that follow button if you haven't already. Repost the live, share the live, do all the wonderful things. If you are a Trump supporter, hop up in the box. We are looking to talk to Trump supporters. John over here is telling us that he supports Trump because of deportation, national security, etc., etc. Deportation. What is one benefit of mass deportation?
Besides national security, well, only Americans get hired. That's what I want. I don't care if it's cheaper for a business owner to hire an illegal. I want only Americans hired in this country, and I want only English-speaking people in this country.
Under the idea of mass deportation, for every 500,000 immigrants removed, 44,000 U.S.-born workers would lose their job.
Say that again?
Under the idea or the actual aspect of mass deportation, for every 500,000 immigrants removed, 44,000 US-born workers would lose their job.
Or they lose it.
Yeah, it's going to be supply and demand. It's going to be basic supply and demand because these companies that actually don't have these millions of workers anymore, they don't have an incentive to hire American workers. They actually have an incentive to downsize their company and actually fire workers, American-born workers, right? And that's according to the American Immigration Council. There's no incentive for them to hire American workers.
Sure. So if that's true, I'd have to check the source. But if that is true, and your business had to downsize because you're deporting illegal aliens, I support it. They shouldn't be here.
Okay, so you support for every 500,000 immigrants being removed, 44,000 US-born workers losing their job?
Yes, I want only Americans here.
So you support millions of Americans losing their job?
If that's what it takes to get the illegals out, yes.
So it went from you want Americans to have jobs to now you don't want Americans to have jobs.
I want them to have jobs the right way. If it involves bringing illegals across the border, I don't want it.
Okay, but you're not okay. So what is one benefit of mass deportation? Because clearly it's not jobs. So what is a benefit?
What benefits is this is a country of Americans and American values, and
what are some American values?
Well, for one, we speak English here. I don't want people speaking Spanish here. We shouldn't even teach Spanish in schools unless you want to do it.
What about French?
I mean, I think both should be like an elective. Like you could choose to do
electives. it. They're not forced upon.
I was forced to take Spanish. I grew up in the American system. I had to take Spanish or French. It wasn't a choice.
Yeah, electives. Yeah.
Yeah,
languages. Do you want people to not learn languages? I mean, you can choose between.
If you want, it should be a choice.
It depends on the school, but they have Spanish. They have French. They have Mandarin. It's not just Spanish.
It should be a choice though, not forced.
I mean, in order to get into some colleges, you need to have credits of languages.
So if you want it should be a choice. I was forced to learn either French or Spanish, and I didn't need either one.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that the school wants to teach children languages. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
We're in America here.
America never had a actual specified language until Donald Trump came into office.
You know we speak English here, guy. You know in Mexico they speak Spanish. Figure it out. It's not hard.
Here we speak English, Spanish, French, Mandarin, whatever people want to speak.
No, the majority speak English. Stop playing games. You know
that doesn't mean that we shouldn't teach our kids Spanish or French.
No. If the kids want to, but it shouldn't. And if they want to do it, the kids should be allowed to do it. But it shouldn't be a requirement. Like you have to take French or Spanish. You can choose which one.
That's honestly, I agree with that being a requirement because I think we need to teach kids to be more diverse.
It should be a requirement?
Yes, to be more diverse. Why? I think it should be a requirement because it teaches kids to be more diverse, right? And then we don't end up having people like you hating on people just for speaking a different language. I'm sorry that growing up you weren't taught a different language. I'm sorry that you're not capable enough of learning a second language, right? But it's actually smart people who know more than one language, right? It's actually people who are dedicated to learning more languages. Yeah, so I'm sorry that you're not smart enough, but it's not our fault.
Yeah, well, I was forced to learn Spanish. And by the way, my point being was it should be a choice, not that you have to do it.
You have a choice between French and Spanish. There's your choice.
Yeah, exactly. Neither of them should be required is my point. Right. We speak English here. So if you want to get a job in Mexico,
who says we speak English?
Are you fucking dumb?
Who says we speak English?
You can't figure that out. This is what I'm talking about with common sense too. You can't. That's why I voted for Trump. You can't figure out that we speak English in
Common
America.
sense. He said coal is clean. Windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before.
So I just told you. Hold
Tylenol
on,
causes
hold on. We could
autism.
talk about all
Common
of that,
sense.
but
Yeah, yeah,
please,
sure.
please answer. Do we not speak majority English here?
Do majority of Americans speak English? Sure.
Yes.
Just because a majority of Americans speak English doesn't mean that we are
Okay,
an
here we
English-speaking
go.
country.
It's like, what the fuck, dude? This is so easy to figure out. You don't. You go to
I think
Mexico.
you're
you
just racist.
it's not racist. I
No,
just
you
like
are.
my
You're
country.
racist, and
I like.
you're mad that you don't know how to
Yeah.
like learn
I love
another
my
language.
country, and I want it to stay the same. We're the greatest country on earth because of certain cultures and values. Now, if
Yeah,
you
diverse.
start,
It's a melting pot.
if,
That's why we're the greatest
yeah,
country on
okay.
earth.
It's now, and
Sonya
people
over
don't
here says he speaks 3 languages. You're jealous of
I don't
Sonya,
care what
right?
he does. People don't assimilate here too. That's also my problem. They don't
What do you mean
assimilate.
by assimilate? What do you mean by that?
When you come here, you better learn English, know how to speak English. If you speak Spanish here and you don't know English, you're gone, deported
That's
immediately.
not how it works. If they have
should be.
citizenship, they don't need they can't be deported, buddy.
I know they can't. My point is they should be.
Do you think the white race is gonna die off if we don't control migration?
I think you would like that.
I'm asking you. Do you think the white race
So
is
think
gonna
about
die if we
that.
don't
No,
control
because
migration?
you'd have to take our guns, and you couldn't do that. You're too weak.
So if we have uncontrolled migration, the white race
I
will
speak
not
Spanish.
die.
Deport me. He said. What's that?
Can you keep track? I asked you a question. If we don't control migration, do you think the white race is gonna die?
Yeah, if it gets too out of hand, yeah.
Do you think that's gonna be a bad thing?
Of course, we built this country, dumbass.
So white supremacists. No, you guys didn't build this country.
I'm a white
You guys
supremacist.
committed.
I just speak the
Yes.
truth.
Hold on. That is literally a white supremacist view. White supremacists hold the view of saying that it is a bad thing if the white race dies off if we don't control migration. That is quite literally a white supremacist view. Now, shut up. You guys didn't build this country. No, this was
I'm Irish Italian.
You guys founded this country on genocide.
I'm
right?
Irish Italian.
Okay, I don't give a fuck.
So that's my point. We built this country Irish
That's
Italian.
great. Congratulations. We're talking about.
No, just say thank you. Just say thank you.
Congratulations. Do you want a cookie?
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Is what I'm.
Yeah, because you're a white supremacist.
How am I white I'm just telling
I just
you the
told
truth.
you white
I don't give a
supremacists.
fuck if you
I
like it
just
or
told you
not.
white supremacists hold the idea that if we don't control mass migration, the white race is gonna die, and that's a very bad thing.
Are you
White
denying?
supremacists hold that.
Are you denying the Liberal Party doesn't constantly go after white people, call them fascist, racist, white suprecists?
If
with
someone's
no
a fascist,
basis
we'll
for it?
call them a fascist. Yes, it's not
Is
just white
Trump a
people.
fascist? Is Trump a
Is
fascist?
yes, he meets. No, actually, no. I take back. He meets the 4 tenets of fascism. But if you want to go based upon, if you want to go based upon Hitler in Italy during World War II, he's only on the he's not fully a fascist. But if you want to go based on the 14 tenets of fascism, yes, he does meet the criteria
He's not
for fascism.
fully a fascist, but I'm going to call him that because
in order
I
to
don't
be
like him.
in order to be a fascist, you need to have ultimate power, and Donald Trump doesn't have that yet.
Yeah, how do you think he would do that?
What we're in right now, what we should be worrying about is an illiberal democracy. That's what we should be worrying about, not fascism. An illiberal democracy.
What do you mean by that?
An illiberal democracy is where, yes, we do have a form of democracy, but it is controlled by a certain group of people and distorted to make it seem like we are voting for representatives or for the president. But in reality, they distort it in a way to where the elites basically control this democracy. That's why it's called an illiberal democracy compared to a liberal democracy. So what we should be worried about right now is an illiberal democracy and not a fascist regime. Right, because remember, in order to have a fascist regime, you need to have ultimate power. You take a look at history, Germany. You need to have ultimate power. So that's why Donald Trump is not a fascist.
All right, I agree. He's not a fascist.
He is on the second to last step.
What's that?
He has power right now. The last step for full fascism is going to be ultimate power. Right.
Oh.
So if he does reach ultimate power, then he is a fascist. If you want to go based on the 14 tenets of fascism, he is a fascist. But we should be worried about an illiberal
you just reversed
democracy.
twice. He's a fascist or he's not? Yes or no?
I'm telling you, based on different wordings. If you want to go based on Italy and Germany,
wordings, just a definition.
Again, people use fascism in different. Okay, what definition of fascism are you using?
I'm just saying, you guys compare him to Hitler and Nazi Germany.
Okay, if you want to compare him to World War II, Italy and Germany, then no, because again, in order to be a fascist, in comparison to those, you need to have full and complete power. Now, some people use the definition being 14 tenets of fascism, right?
Sure, but what do you think specifically? What do you think?
I think that we should be worried more about an illiberal democracy, not
Yes, but
fascism.
do you personally think he's a fascist? Is my question.
I think he's on his way there, yes, but not fully.
So it's
He's
an
not a
opinion.
he's not a
It's not a
he's
fact.
not a
It's an
fascist.
opinion. It's opinion.
No, it's a fact that he's not a fascist because he doesn't
Right.
have full and complete
So
power.
he's not a
But
fascist.
he is on his way there because
You
he
say
is
that.
eroding checks and balances
You say that.
via the
You know who made
Constitution,
the
via
most
Congress.
executive orders was President Obama. Would you call him a fascist?
Again, that's not eroding checks and balances.
Of course it is. He overruled everybody. He ordered the most executive
Name one
orders.
executive order that was unconstitutional that he still passed or attempted.
It
to
wasn't
pass.
unconstitutional. He's
Perfect,
allowed
and
to
that's
do
not
it.
eroding checks and balances.
That's what
Presidents have the power to pass executive
have
orders,
the
but
power to.
when you pass an executive order that attempts to dismantle the 14th Amendment by banning birthright citizenship, that is an attack on the Constitution.
Right.
And when you disregard courts' rulings, saying that is an attack on the Constitution, that is
Holy
eroding checks and balances. So yes, Donald Trump is on the road to fascism.
If
But like I already
Congress
stated,
didn't-
we shouldn't be
didn't-
worrying about fascism.
if Congress
we should be
didn't
worrying
like
about an
something
illiberal
he did,
democracy.
he would just overrule them, do an executive order. He didn't
Yes,
care.
yes, Donald Trump would overrule Congress. Yes.
Way less than
And
Obama did.
that is trying to erode checks and balances. That is
That's what
actively
Trump
eroding
did.
checks and
Excuse me.
balances.
That's what Obama did.
Okay, name one executive
Go
order.
look it up for yourself.
Yeah, so
It's-
you don't
it's
have any
public-
facts or evidence. So first
it's
off,
a-
you
it is a fact.
you were spreading white supremacy's talking points,
Oh,
and now
here we
you're
go.
trying to justify. You're trying to actually justify now eroding checks and balances,
Like,
which
I-
will lead to fascism.
I could tell you, you're just anti-white.
I'm anti-white.
Yes.
How am
You
I
don't like
anti-white?
You're white well, you're not white, but you don't like white people.
How do you know that?
How do I know that? Because I just compared Obama and Trump. Said Obama did more executive orders, but you
You have
call
no-
Trump a
again,
fascist. Trump a fascist, and not him.
Presidents have the option, and presidents have the legal authority to do executive orders with if it does not violate the Constitution. Obviously,
Right, but
Congress.
you call
and-
Trump
hold
a
on,
fascist.
Congress and the Supreme Court can check them. It doesn't matter how many they do. They can do 1,000. It does not make them a fascist. The only way someone becomes a fascist, if you want to go based on Germany and Italy, it's if they erode checks and balances, they cancel elections, they cancel the Constitution, and they have full and complete power. Again, Italy
Right.
and Germany are prominent examples of this.
Right.
An only way of being a fascist if they have full and complete power. Again, if you want to base it upon those two examples.
Right.
So no,
But Trump doesn't.
Obama was not a fascist, and Trump is not a fascist. But
Thank
Trump
you.
is on his way to being
That's
a
all I wanted you to
fascist
say.
because he's eroding checks and balances. I've already stated this multiple times. We
Sure,
should not
but
be
what
worrying
checks
about
and
fascism.
balances-
We need
what
to be
checks and
worrying about an
balances has he
illiberal
eroded?
democracy. I already explained this to you.
No, you didn't explain it. What checks and balances?
What's an illiberal
specifically-
democracy? Go ahead.
No. I said what checks and balances has he eroded? That was your
The
claim.
Constitution, ignoring Supreme Court
Constitution, what-
rulings.
The what?
The Constitution ignoring Supreme Court rulings.
He doesn't have to.
Yes,
He doesn't
everyone
have
has
to
to
abide
follow.
by Supreme Court rule. If
No,
they
hold
say-
on. The Constitution says no one is above the law. Who the
Holy
Supreme
cow.
Court is actually the group of
Wow.
individuals that give
Wow.
the set of laws, or not
The
the set of law-
Supreme
the
Court has no right getting involved in foreign policy or domestic
Yes,
policy.
they do. If
No,
it
they
violates the
do
Constitution,
not.
yes, it does.
Absolutely
If
not.
it violates the Constitution, yes, it does.
He didn't violate the Constitution.
Yes, it did. He violated the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth
How
Amendment,
did he
Fifth
violate
Amendment,
the
10th
First
Amendment.
Amendment? You guys tried to lock him up and kill him.
Okay, you guys? No, who's
Democrats.
you guys? Democrats. Hold on.
You tried
Pause.
to press
Pause.
charges against him. 'cause he's a
Butler,
political
Pennsylvania. Butler,
opponent.
Pennsylvania. He was a registered Republican. Butler, Pennsylvania. He was a registered Republican.
No,
You
no.
fucking
That's a
donut.
lie.
It
That's a
wasn't
lie.
Democrats.
No,
Butler, Pennsylvania
Does
was
that
a
make sense
registered
to you? He was
Republican.
a
Charlie
registered
Kirk was a
Republican and he tried to
groiper.
pew
It was
pew
not
the president.
liberals.
Does that
It was
make
not
sense to you?
progressives.
You
It
just
was not
lied.
leftists. They were
He
registered
went
Republicans. Just
There's
like January
public
6th,
record.
Republicans are the party of hate.
No,
they're the
oh
party
my
of
gosh.
violence.
Are you kidding?
It's the
So
registered
I want the people to
Republicans
hear this.
who are the
I want-
party of violence. It is not
I
the
want
liberals.
the people to hear this. Trump supporters tried to pew pew Trump. No, what happened was the
Yes.
kid went
Well,
totally
are you denying
rogue.
he was a
He
registered
went
Republican? Are you
totally
denying
rogue.
that? Are you denying
Shut up
that?
for a second.
Are you
The
denying
kid went
that?
totally rogue. There's YouTube comments where he was saying he was going to assassinate Trump because he's abandoned America. He wasn't Republican.
He was a registered Republican. Are you denying that?
And you guys
it
also
is
said that.
absolutely a fact that he was a registered Republican.
And you guys
It's an
said it about
absolute fact.
the Charlie Kirk shooter.
Charlie Kirk. He was a groiper. He had groiper wording in the bullets.
Oh, he
Bella
grew
Ciao,
up
Bella Ciao,
wording
Bella
the
Ciao.
bullet.
That's
He
Groiper.
shot
Yes.
a Republican he disagreed with. His parents may have been Republican, but he
No,
wasn't.
hold on, hold on. The person who shot Charlie Kirk was a Groiper. He was not a liberal. He was literally
Well, he wasn't a liberal.
anti-LGBTQ. He was anti-LGBTQ, as we see in the
He
bullet
was dating a
cases.
tranny.
No, he wasn't.
Yes,
They were
he
roommates.
was. You idiot!
They were
A
roommates.
furry fucking tranny.
Okay, don't call him that. Don't be weird. You're
He was a
disgusting.
tranny. What do you want me to tell you? He's a tranny.
Get out of my live stream, bro. People like you piss me off. Holy shit. Trying to explain to you how you're spreading white supremacist talking points. I try to explain to you the difference between an illiberal democracy and a fascist regime. I try to explain to you the history of a fascist regime and how people use different definitions of fascism, like the 14 tenets, or going back to Hitler and in Italy prior to or during World War II, and you can't understand shit. And then I actually tell you that they're a registered Republican for both but for Donald Trump and then a Groiper for Charlie Kirk, and you don't understand shit. Get out of my live. You're weird. Moving on to the next guest. Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button if you haven't already. Repost the live, share the live, do all the wonderful things. Over on YouTube, see what's up in the comment section. Hit that thumbs up. How's it going? Do you support Trump?
I stand with Charlie Kirk, and you're a piece of shit, and you're a fucking faggot.
I don't think you should be slurring. I blame the parents. I think that they need to do a better job at like raising you. It's obviously wrong to slur, so just educate yourself. How's it going? Do you support Trump?
I support Trump's ideas, ideologies, and points he's trying to get across. Not him as a person, but what he does.
Okay, would you vote
If I
for
could
would you vote for a
explain.
child rapist as president? Yes or no?
No, I would not.
So then you trying to separate this idea of like character and policy doesn't make any sense, right? Because you wouldn't vote for
I
a
understand that.
child rapist, right?
No,
So
I
if Donald
wouldn't.
Trump is a bad enough person, you wouldn't vote for him, right? So character does matter.
Wait, yeah, no, yeah, completely with you on that.
So then, if you wouldn't vote for a child rapist, why would you vote for someone who raped a woman? What's the difference between him raping a child and a woman?
No, I wouldn't vote for him.
So you don't support. If you could go back in time, who would you vote for, Harris or Trump?
Back in time, if I knew
2024
the
election,
allegations, if I knew the allegations,
It was actually he was held liable in a court of law, and allegations, yes. But yeah, but if
okay,
you could
yeah,
go back in time in 2024, who would you vote for?
I would still vote for Trump if I can explain.
So what is the difference between him raping a child and him raping a woman? To where one point you wouldn't vote for him as if it were a child, and then the other point you would vote for him as in the woman. What is the difference between a child and a woman?
Can we get to that in 1 second? I had something that I wanted to come on here and discuss and see if you were agreed upon.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, how do you feel about ICE?
ICE should be abolished.
Okay, can I hear your stance? I want to hear
you in
your
the bath?
opinion before. What?
Are you in the bath?
Damn straight.
Why are you talking to me with no clothes on in the bath? That's weird. Get out of my live stream. What the fuck? That's weird. Rob is in here. I heard Rob is getting deplatformed. I want to know what he said. Rob, I'll send you an invite. I heard Rob is getting deplatformed. Rob, how's it going?
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
Awesome.
So-
Why is Santana what did you do? Why is Santana deplatforming you?
Yeah, here's what happened. He was thanking everybody that donated to his live. And then he says, should we bring Rob up? And everybody, it was like one or two. One, don't bring me up. Two, bring me up. And there were more twos, so he brought me up. And then he says, okay, to kick Rob, to permanently ban Rob, $250. So basically, that was an insult to everybody that was watching, all of his
It's not true.
followers.
It's because you said something.
That he
It's
is
'cause of
going to just.
It was because of something that you said that actually was hateful and actually harmful. Right? That's why he.
No,
is
it
trying
was
to
an
deplatform you.
embarrassment to his followers. That's like me going to watch the Masters tournament and like Scotty Scheffler playing with I don't know, Tiger Woods, and then he says, instead of me playing, I just want you to give me $250,000, and I will not play. I mean, He was up there.
Sure. I was just
The
curious.
people that pay him pay to see him do a job.
Right, I was just curious. I've never actually debated you, so tell me why.
Yeah,
do you still
can,
support Trump?
Yes, times
Cool.
1,000.
Why? No, why do you support Trump?
Because he's the best president we've ever had.
What's the argument for that?
Well, what we're doing in Iran.
Why do you support? Actually, what is the justification to go to war with Iran?
Because they've got nukes, and we don't want
They
the
don't have
bad
nukes.
motherfuckers.
There's no evidence that they have nukes. Tulsi Gabbard testified that in the summer of 2025, the intelligence community said that we completely obliterate their nuclear capabilities, and that's what Donald Trump said as well. They don't have nukes. That's propaganda. I could see why.
Kamala Harris
Harmful
said-
propaganda. Because give me 1 second. It's this rhetoric right here that has 13 service members killed. That rhetoric right there, saying that they have nukes and that's a justification for the war. That rhetoric right there is why service members are dead. So I do agree with Santana and deplatforming you, right? But go ahead. What is the justification? 'Cause what you just said is a lie. So try again.
That's better than having like half the country or another country being unalived by
They don't have nukes. That's a lie. There's no evidence.
Islamic
to present that they have nukes.
extremists in the Middle East.
Islamic regimists.
Extremist.
Sure, you're just going to talk about the regime.
That support
I don't agree. I don't agree
Sharia
with the regime.
law.
Can you tell me the justification
You
for the war in Iran?
advocate for Sharia law?
No, I don't. Sharia law is not a thing in the United States.
Okay, well then,
But
you should agree with Trump, then.
that's not a justification for the war in Iran. That's a pivot. What is the justification for the war in Iran? Thank you so much.
We've got intelligence already saying that they're got uranium. They're
Reaching
in the
uranium
process
is not the fact that they have nuclear bombs.
of
right?
making nukes, and they are
There's
the
no evidence
most
that they're in the
dangerous
process of
threat to
making
the
nukes.
world.
Okay, there's no
All
evidence of them making nukes.
civilization.
There's no
Even-
evidence of them making nukes. The
Even
IAEA
Harris
found no
said
evidence.
that on 60 Minutes.
Sure, but that's not justification to go in. Do you agree with Iraq and Bush in Iraq? Right. If you don't know, Bush said that there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Bush said that Saddam Hussein had ties to Al Qaeda. Right. There was no evidence for that. Bush got us into a war with Iraq. And then prior to that war, there was literally zero evidence. In fact, the UN went into Iraq and found no evidence that they were
Yes,
actually
we
building
make-
weapons of mass destruction. Give me 1 second. And Bush decided to go to war with Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction and ties of Al Qaeda to Saddam Hussein. After the war, guess what happened? No weapons of mass destructions found, and zero evidence that Saddam Hussein had ties to Al Qaeda. Same thing is happening now. Trump is claiming they have nukes, zero evidence. Actually, Trump never claimed that they have nukes, right? According to him, in summer of 2025, we completely obliterated their nuclear capability. So that's not a justification for the war, or else you'd have to say you agree with Bush and Iraq, which is actually insane.
No, I don't agree with that 100%, and I don't agree with us helping Afghanistan fight off Russia in the 80s
Yes.
because they turned around and used those weapons against us.
Yes,
That's the way-
yeah, I know what you're referencing.
That's the way the Middle East.
Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan with his group. And
Yes,
then he in Afghanistan trying to fight off global superpowers, and then Osama bin Laden after Russia, or I guess the USSR, was pushed out of Afghanistan, then returned back to Saudi Arabia. When he then started traveling across the Middle East, trying to start
Trying to
attacks
recruit
against
extremists,
global orders.
yes.
Yes. What's your point? That you would have to then
So,
argue? Well, that's still
I
not
don't
justification
agree
to going to
with
war
us
with Iran.
helping out
So
Islamic
then there's no
countries.
justification for the war in Iran then.
We're not helping them. We're trying to help the rest of the world.
You're saying the justification for the war in Iran.
the rest
The
of the
one
world.
justification I already proved wrong was that they had nukes. There's no evidence that they had nukes. Tulsi Gabbard already said that the intelligence community determined that their nuclear capabilities were completely obliterated in the summer of 2025. Donald Trump has said this, right? So it's not because they have nukes. So what is the justification for the war in Iran?
Well, we're trying to liberate an oppressed society.
Donald Trump
along
said
with
that the goal
that,
is
that's
not regime
just a
change.
side effect from getting rid of their nukes.
Okay, they don't have nukes, A, and B. Now you're just saying regime change. Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump all said that it's not regime change. Regime change is not the goal. That's what Benjamin Netanyahu wanted, but they've all said that that is not the goal. Also, regime change has not been successful because the son of the Ayatollah is still in power. And they've said that we completely met
Well,
all
he's
of
in
our
a coma
objectives.
right now.
And then
Last I
he said
heard.
he said we've completely met all of our objectives in Iran. if our objective was regime change, then they would be lying, right? So obviously it's not regime change. And him being in a coma, he can. There's still reports of him actually giving orders, whether it be written orders. The thing is, we haven't seen him, but the point is, the son of the Ayatollah is still in power. So again, regime change, not a justification. They didn't have nukes. That's not a justification. So what is a
All
justification
right, well,
to
they're
going to war with Iran?
unaliving their own people.
They're
They
unaliving their own
disagree
people?
with the Islamic Sharia law in oppressing women and unaliving their population that don't agree.
That's bad, but how is that a justification for a war?
Well, is it a
Then you would say that
justification?
if that was a justification for a war, then you would say that Iraq was also justified because Saddam Hussein killed, genocided actually hundreds of thousands of Kurds. Then you would also have to say Iran as well when the Ayatollah got into power, as well as multiple of these other oppressive regimes that have unalived their people. You would have to say that those are justified, but previously you just told us that Iraq was
So you're
not
just
justified.
an Islamic apologist, really.
It's not the holy straw man. Can you address what I said? The contradiction with your argument?
Yeah, I don't agree with the whole Iraq thing.
Cool. Then, but Saddam Hussein killed genocided hundreds of thousands of Kurds.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You know about Afghanistan, the USSR, but you don't know about literally them using I believe chemical weapons to genocide. Chemical weapons, I think the name is, to genocide hundreds of thousands of Kurds. That's insane.
Okay, so
You
you
should
do
do some
agree.
research on that.
You do
So
agree with Iraq. Is that what you're saying?
No,
The
I don't
Iraq-
agree. The point is, I don't agree with Iraq. There was no justification to go to war with Iraq. The same reason as there's no justification to go to war with Iran. I'm just pointing out contradictions within your logical, within your actual
Okay.
point of dialogue.
Okay, but
Because if you're saying because they're unaliving their own people, then you would say that Iraq was also justified, and all these oppressive regimes who also unalive their own people are also justified because they unalive their own people.
all right, well,
So that's not a justification.
when I was
for
in
war.
high school, Democratic administration sent the military into Waco, Texas to unalive hundreds of Christians, and half of them were
What relevance
children.
does this have?
What?
What's the relevance to the Iran? I mean, you're trying to what you're doing here.
I'm just
you
saying
said that Iran
that-
war was justified. Please give your argument as to why it's justified. I've
That
disproven
you are
3 of your
supporting,
points.
you are supporting what happened like in Waco under a Democratic administration, but they were Christians. So, I mean,
How did you get from everything
but if
that I just
it's
told you
an
that I support
Islamic
that?
country, then you're against it. And if it's a Republican administration, you're against it.
I'm against any unjust wars.
Okay, so then we can agree that that was unjust to go in and use military force against Christians in Waco, Texas, that had like
We're
firearms
talking about
for
Iran.
hunting deer and stuff.
Again, we're talking about Iran. You're trying to provide a justification for the war with Iran. You've tried to bring up 3 points, but you have failed to either A, address the
I've
contradictions that I
already
provided.
said nuclear
Again,
weapons. and
there's
so
no
far
evidence that they
you-
had nuclear weapons. There's no evidence that it was a regime change. According to Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, they all said that it wasn't a regime change. Only Bibi Netanyahu said he wanted to do a regime change, but Marco Rubio said that we should not do that. And then he said that because they're killing their own people, then you would also have to justify Iraq and
Every president
all of the other.
that's
okay,
preceded Trump has said that Iran is the biggest
still
threat
not a
to the
justification.
world.
That's still not a justification for the war.
Okay, well, we're just a participant, like on the side. It's mainly Israel.
It's Israel and the United States. We bombed a school of 164 to 174 schoolgirls. We threatened genocide. Donald Trump threatened genocide.
Yeah, just like what happened when Bill Clinton sent the
I don't care about
military
Bill Clinton. Hold on.
into.
Again, I don't care. I don't care about
Okay,
Bill
dodge.
Clinton. Donald
Yeah,
Trump.
just dodge that hole.
It's not a dodge. It's, I
Listen.
don't care about Bill Clinton. We're talking
Yeah,
about
you don't
Trump.
care about it if they're Christians.
Holy
I'm
straw,
sure
man.
It is Islamic
So
extremists.
let me bring someone up. They requested. Let's see. They'd probably be better to explain it. I'm sure that I didn't explain it very well. What's up, Chris?
Oh yeah, I just got here. I'm just saying hi. What's going on, man?
Nothing
What's up,
much.
Chris?
Rob here is trying to justify the war in Iran. What do you want me to do about that?
Interesting. Okay. Well, can you tell me how we made the now let's use the keywords here. Right? How have we made the lives of the civilians in Iran better since the war? Just to give you some highlights, we blew up a school full of 165 girls. We blew up a bunch of infrastructure and made it rain hot, toxic fumes on the civilian population. We blew up one of the oldest synagogues, and on top of that, Tulsi Gabbard said that we've done little to crumple the IRGC. How exactly have we made it better for the civilians over there?
They hide their weapons in public places. That's
But
how
that's not.
sick their regime is.
Oh, okay, cool. Rob.
They disguise
Okay,
their.
cool. Rob.
Yeah.
So I never asked you what their tactics were. I asked you, and by the way, that oil refinery that we blew up was 100 miles away from any IRGC military post. So what I'm asking you is, how have we made the civilian lives better since we started the operation, sir?
Well, if they take down the oil refineries and we take down their resources,
Okay, so let
that's
me
not
just,
a civilian.
do you know that there's literally villages surrounding the oil refineries? It's actually confirmed, and we're the ones that actually saw this overhead, right, with our Air Force. We not only did we blow it up, we caused toxic clouds to rain hot toxic fumes on the civilians directly below it. So I'm going to ask you again. How have we made the civilians' lives better by doing this, even when Tulsi Gabbard said that we've done nothing but galvanize the government, which means when we leave, they're going to take it out on them?
They're already taking it out on civilians.
Okay, so
Because they're sick motherfuckers.
okay, Rob. All right, cool, Rob. I'm gonna keep asking you a question. Perfect. How have we, since the beginning of Epic Fury, blowing up schools full of girls and make it rain hot infrastructure structure on the civilians? Cool. Focus on the U.S. Right. All of a sudden, you
focus on Iran hiding their weapons in civilian places.
Okay, so
and discussing them as military.
Hey, Rob. I'm gonna ask you again. How have we? You notice how you have trouble in the question. How have we made the lives better for them over there by blowing up schools full of girls and blowing up?
We have already met with it, and they've agreed to open up it for Moose.
When did that happen?
What?
It's in talks right now.
No, they're not. And in fact, Trump here in America.
They're saying they're going to charge people to go through, but that's not cool.
Rob, hold on.
Not cool.
Hey, Rob. Notice when it's not the well-being of your civilians. I have an answer for you. So I'm again. How have we made the lives of the Iranian civilians better since we're over there? How come I'm not?
That's not our fault. That's their fault for using civilians.
What are you talking about? So you're telling me that there was hundreds of miles. That was just an oil refinery with civilian buildings.
I know I'm lagging. I think it should be good now. Give me 1 second.
Gotcha.
The stream is lagging for the viewers. I know we can talk. We're here in person, but the viewers are lagging.
Y'all hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Rob. Okay, I think it's good, y'all.
Okay.
It might be a little lag because I just restarted the Wi-Fi.
No, man, you're good.
Take it away.
So, Rob, can you actually? So, one, the Strait of Hormuz actually has little to do with the civilians on the ground. How have we made the lives better since we started this operation? I still haven't got an answer.
We're not done with it yet.
So,
get a chance to play.
Okay, cool. Perfect. I will accept your premise if you can answer me one question. We've done regime change attempts in the Middle East since 1949, all right? Starting with Syria. Have we ever successfully done it where it's been better for the people on the ground?
Nobody's carried it out. Should be. And there are Christians in unallow the rest of the world in the name of Allah.
Okay, but hold on. Okay.
Give me 1 second. There is a lag, so I'm gonna try and fix it.
And by the way, those Christians walked to the routes that Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Jesus. But you guys don't care about that. Anyway, so with that being said, does he stabilizing a government in the Middle East? Has that led less T groups or more T groups?
T group was already in
No.
America that I agree with, and I would.
Rob, I mean T group.
I will restart the T group and maybe run for Senate. It's part of.
How many of you would like to see?
So you're pro-jihadist? Wait, what's happening? That's the T groups that I'm talking about. So you're pro-jihadist? Oh, what's going on?
No.
Okay, so answer my question. Jesus, Rob, this is
California. That's where the world's
go ahead and request up if you.
How?
Yes. Cool, perfect. That oil refinery, that's coming from Sean Parnell and Pete Hegseth. They said it was nowhere near any Iranian military outpost. Cool. Now, answer my question. Every time that we've
Okay, how many
Rob,
civilians were unalive?
okay, I really don't want to have to use the mute button, but you gave me no choice. You've done nothing but ask me a question, but now the time, so now you get to answer one. Every time that we've done a military repeat what I asked you,
Society.
please. Can you repeat what I asked you, please?
With no threat to the rest of the world.
I have a feeling that you're getting paid by IRGC now because you're really like. Can you repeat the question I asked you because it's not good. Now you're being generous.
You were saying how have we in the past helped out?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Okay, stop. I'm gonna restate the question. Okay. So every time that we destabilize someone in the Middle East, has it led to more T groups popping up or less? Holy shit.
Yeah, we'll probably never, because as long as they leave, but
You
we have
literally
to
just
try
okay.
and we have to.
So you literally correct.
Yeah.
No better. So every time I'm going to go through the comprehensive list of every time we destabilize countries, that's made it worse for our national security. When we Iraq, it led to the global war on terror, which we had to fight IS for 20 plus years, Taliban in Afghanistan. When we destabilized Syria the first and second time, it led to the Assad regime, Qatar, few conflicts outside of Iran, so on and so forth. So if you're looking